Hi, welcome to Box on the Box Rock and Celluloid, Bot for short. So it's 11:30 at night, hot off the press. This is probably the quickest I've ever done a film review after seeing the film. So I just went to the first kind of showings of Top Gun Maverick. So a bit of historical background. Not a big fan of Top Gun. Always thought it was a bit of shit. Saw it probably on video about 87, I guess, and then watched it again quite a long time after. But my wife said, "Oh, we should watch Top Gun before going to see Top Gun Maverick." So we watched it the other night, and it was quite interesting actually to sort of analyse it, how kind of thin it is really, the plot, how homoerotic it is at times, how ridiculously macho. The soundtrack's great. It is a truly great soundtrack, and it's an iconic 80s film, really, because of certain images, because of the soundtrack, because of Tom Cruise's shades in his jacket, Val Kilmer's hair, things like that. It's those images that make it iconic. But it's not something like Back to the Future, where you've got an iconic film, I think, with images, but it's perfectly crafted. But in a way, the Top Gun, the original, captures the sort of 80s gloss and vacuousness perfectly, and that's why it's so popular in a way, or beloved. I never was really massive on the action scenes, and when I was watching it, you got a lot of really good second unit photography of the plane manoeuvres and so on, but the actors are kind of just in kind of mocked up cockpits in a studio, and you can't really tell what's going on. It's like I said, there's not much detail in Top Gun, so we'll come to it when we review. Well, I review Maverick, but it doesn't out today. It's Welcome Top Gun. It's from that time when films were a sensible length. I'm happy to report Maverick is as well, actually. It's 131 minutes, it's 2011 minutes, and that's with, all the credits. So, again, we'll come to that. So, but anyway, I kind of enjoyed watching Top Gun the other night. I think when you watch it, you realise that Iceman is like the top kind of guy. When you're young, you're like, if you're into Maverick, you're like, yeah, he's top, he's a rebel. But in actual fact, he's kind of impetuous and puts people at risk, and the whole point of the Iceman character is, he kind of stays within his limits, and that's why he becomes Top Gun and not the Cruise. Just going to adjust my camera a bit if I can, apologies. So that's kind of my take on Top Gun. At the time, I think it grossed about $375 million. So to put that into context, if you released it now, your average ticket price back then was probably about $3.50 to $4. So you've got a multiplier of at least 2.5. So if you released Top Gun now, you would be looking at $850 to $900 million gross, and that's a good barometer to see what Maverick will do. And I'll say out loud now that I think it's got a really good chance of doing those kind of numbers. So that's kind of my take initially. What I'll do is I'll give you a quick spoiler-free little review of Maverick, and then I'll go into more detail. So I'll tell you when I get to the end of the spoiler-free thing, and then if you want to cut off, because you don't want it ruining. So what I say is, this is a massive improvement on Top Gun. It takes all the elements, it has lots of little moments that reflect on the original Top Gun. It's a legacy sequel, so it has characters and moments that reflect the original. But obviously it's got the technology and the sound design and the full playground of modern cinema. And the other thing that's interesting is it hasn't got a lot of CGI. Not the original Top Gun did either. What CGI is really well done. The physical action in the planes is great. The flying sequences. The new cast members are really good. And the characters and performances all work really well. The pacing's good. There was one point I thought, they're just kind of outrunning themselves here, but they just got it just right. And I really enjoyed it. I wasn't surprised in a way. I had a feeling from watching the trailers that this was going to be really good, which is strange because, like I said, I'm not a big Top Gun fan, but when I saw the trailers, I don't know if you felt the same, you just got a sense, this this could really work, and the fact that they've waited so long has worked in its favour, and you know, the fact it was supposed to come out in the pandemic has made it all the more sweeter. So my mark out of 10 for this is a very solid 9 out of 10, and it's the last time I had a really kind of good mark for a blockbuster was another Tom Cruise film, which was Mission Impossible Fallout, and I really think Tom Cruise is on the sweet spot at the moment. And what I'll say is, thank God there's movie stars still like Tom Cruise. When I went to the pictures, there was a trailer for the new Brad Pitt film as well, Bullet Train. Brad Pitt's a movie star, and he's having a nice little Indian summer as well, like Robert Redford did, like Paul Newman, all those great stars of the past eastward. They're starting to have a little lean period. I think Tom Cruise was having a bit of a lean period, you know, around the time of Katie Holmes, when he was married to her, and not Katie Holmes' fault, and stuff like that. And Brad Pitt had a period, you know, a few years ago, he was looking a bit plastic in that World War II thing. But, you know, they're kind of looking a little more lived in, and that's working for them. And it's just so nice to see a movie star on screen. Leonardo DiCaprio would be another one who I enjoy. There's not many left, you know, Eastwood's getting too old. And I'm sorry, I don't kind of buy into the whole Marvel, Batman, you know, the people who play those, the stars of those films are popular in those films. They can't sell a film outside. Look at Chris Hemsworth's, you know, box office track record outside of Marvel. Robert Downey Jr., okay, it's better, but yeah, Robert Downey Jr., okay, that's an exception there. But you know, Christian Bale, they're all great, but it's not the same as like that brand that a movie star brings. You know, people can criticise movie stars as actors, but what they do is they create a performance that's their brand, and they evolve that, and that's what you enjoy about their product, I guess. And Tom Cruise does really well on this. So that's my little kind of unspoiled review. Go and see this film. I think you'll really enjoy it. I had high hopes for it. Strangely enough, I wasn't disappointed. Neither was my wife. We loved it. So this would have spoilers in it. Okay, so what's cool about the film? Yeah, the tech by the direction by Joseph Kosinski is really good. He's got the actors actually in the planes. There'll be maybe a few little CGI bits, but you can't tell. But the base of the actors, they must have a pilot flying them, and they're in the plane. Really good, really well done. What the other thing that's really good about this film is I always found the whole flight stuff of Top Gun really frivolous. It didn't explain anything. This kind of gets into the physics more. You're given more information about what they're doing, what they're trying to do. There's some nice sort of touches that have a rule where they can't go below 5,000 feet, and I think it's called the hard level or something. I didn't know that. So it just gives you a bit more tech, and think in this sort of technical age, I think people will enjoy that and understand it in kind of layman's terms. So that's really good. Also, at the end of Top Gun, originally, remember, it has like the kind of, oh, we've got to go on a mission, you know, it's all bloody bollocks. With this, to have a really cool mission, and it actually basically takes two cues. Well, it copies Operation Crossbow. So for those of you that know Operation Crossbow, that's where they have to fly the planes into the Norwegian field and hit a target. So it takes that idea they've got to go into a kind of treacherous terrain and take out a target, and yeah, they've got like a kind of bit of a Star Wars thing as well, getting the dead on the target. So it requires great risk, great skill. This is kind of almost like a suicide mission, and there's real tension in the climax. Really good. Tom Cruise is excellent in this. You know, I always found him too cocky, too cocksure when I was younger. I never kind of bought into his shit-eating Grinch shtick. I know he always gets taken down a peg in A Colour of Money or Cocktail, but I couldn't relate to that confidence and cocksure, because as a young man, well, I wasn't cocky or cocksure, and I'm still not now. What I like about this, he's not sure of himself, he's not as assured, he's feeling his age, he's got regret. And it brings that through. He has a nice romance with Jennifer Connelly. You know, she's closer in age to Tom Cruise, and it's done really well, really appropriately. Nice cameo by Ed Harris at the start, works really well. John Hamm's excellent in the kind of Tom. God, I've forgotten his second name. You know, the guy who's in Alien, who's a Top Gun. Sorry, He's really good. All the supporting cast are good. Miles Teller's good as Goose, and then it takes a while for their father-son thing to kind of ignite, but it's good, really well done. It could have gone cheesy. A little nod to The Great Escape, James Garner, Donald Pleasance again. So that World War II thing, quite interesting, but all handled well. Like I said, great mix of live action, any kind of CGI, really well integrated, hard to spot. I think the budget of the film's 170 million. It's money well spent. It's all up on the screen. I was just checking there. Tech credits are great. The soundtrack's not as good as the classic Top Gun soundtrack. It's one of the really strong things about a Top Gun film. But I think they knew they could never top that, so they've wisely chosen some really nice beats. The danger zone opens up, and the opening of the film basically almost mimics shot for shot the opening original Top Gun with the font and everything. And I thought that worked really well. Good use of the Who number. Lady Gaga song, great. It's not Take My Breath Away, but it's really good. I think it's going to be a contender for best Oscar song. Like the kind of guys on a mission thing at the end as well, mimicking, and obviously the favourite scene is the Val Kilmer cameo. Great, really tenderly done. Obviously, people, if you've seen the Val Kilmer documentary, you'll know he's lost his voice box due to cancer. And they actually have a bit of homo. It's quite homoerotic. Top Gun, and when he gets the text, Ice, he says, "I can't see you now." He goes, "I'm not asking." It's almost like Ice is waiting for Maverick to come. Sorry, not literally. Really good scene. Ice. Val Kilmer's character's typing at the computer and he speaks at the end, and it was just really nice. It was just like a really nice way to treat Val Kilmer in his current situation. I thought it was great, really good, really just brought a touch of class to the film. It had a homoerotic beach volleyball sort of beach football scene. Tom got his shirt off, he's sweating, his physics measuring up pretty good, well to the young cast. So legacy sequel. It's not what they call a soft reboot. I don't think they'll do another Top Gun. I think it's a winner, but one sequel. But just the way it kind of mirrored, the opening scene. Tom Cruise, puts his shades on, puts his jacket on, and gets on the bike, and those are probably the iconic images of the Top Gun, the original Top Gun, more than anything. But yeah, really good, a nice kind of mournful quality, but about regret, about getting older, about trying to make things right. We're all getting older. I'm 51 now, so you do start to doubt yourself. Well, I've always doubted myself, so I can kind of relate to that. I know I'm not like the world's greatest pilot, like Maverick. I'm not anything, but it's good to see characters on screen, that you can kind of feel a sense of like what the character's going through. I think one of the things with this is clearly people of our generation are going to go out in their droves to see this. But what are young people going to think? Young people who are weaned on box sets, on the internet, on Marvel. How will they relate to this? Will they relate to the younger characters in it? Will they love the flying scenes? Do they like the original Top Gun? I think they'll enjoy the action scenes. It would be great in a way if they kind of got into it and appreciated the more physical side of the filmmaking that you just don't get with the superhero stuff, which is a lot of CGI. I'm sorry, I'm sounding like an old man. Quite interesting was at the pictures. Obviously, there's a trailer for the new Mission Impossible, which looked great. And there was a trailer for the third Jurassic Park, which was really good. And again, had legacy characters coming back. So, it's that mixture of getting new people in, but having that nostalgia. So, I think that sums up my review. Obviously, 14 minutes, but there's kind of two reviews. But I thought this is, if you're going to make a blockbuster in the modern age, with a known property, I don't think they could have done this better. I think this was really spot on, and credit to everyone who did it, and Tom Cruise. I think the guy as a star kind of really shepherds his projects now, and he chooses his collaborators really well, and he's collaborated himself, and it all shows up on the screen. So fully recommend it. So hopefully see you again soon. Check out the review, remember to share and subscribe, and see you again soon. Thanks very much.